There's buzzing out there, flying around out in Lambeau Field in the frozen tundra, buzzing. One of the boys, Aidan Hutchinson, young man, young gentleman, first round pick, and may I say, Spencer,
May you say.
a future defensive rookie of the year.
Let me check the odds on that real fast. But, I mean, he's got to be top 2.
JB?
I think that the game last night kind of sealed it for him, for me, honestly. I mean, come on, 3 interceptions? Like, the sack total, like, come on, 9.5. He got to Aaron Rodgers. I think you give it to him. Like, I know he's going back and forth with him and Sauce, but I don't know. Last night just kind of, sealed it for me. You got to give it to Aidan.
It's Aidan's all day. I tried telling you guys this was happening 2 weeks ago. And there was a valid argument, for Sauce Gardner to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm not telling you there isn't a valid argument for Sauce Gardner to be Defensive Rookie of the Year, but this award was coming home to Aidan Hutchinson into the season on national primetime television with 2 sacks against Aaron Rodgers, and a game which they had to play in to make it to the playoffs, and Aidan Hutchinson was part of that. Nah, we don't think so. Nah, not today. Not today. Capping his season off with 9.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 34 solo tackles, and just being a hell of a monster. Oh, yeah, 3 interceptions. How many does Sauce have in the year?
2.
2? 1 more than Sauce Gardner?
Mm-hmm.
I told you this, too. It's the media that votes in this, correct? Am I wrong in that?
Yes.
What's a sexier story to write right now? Aidan Hutchinson's or the New York Jets?
Aidan Hutchinson's, I would say.
It's this
The
award's
comeback kid, the
Aidan's.
hometown kid.
100%.
A defense that had nothing last year. Turning it around mid-season.
Mm-hmm.
Making a lot of things. I can't find any up-to-date odds.
That's fine. That's Jamie. Jamie, can you pull that up for us?
Everything I'm finding is Sauce minus 1,200.
This thing's coming to Aidan Hutchinson. This thing's coming home. Coming home to Michigan. And, like
You put money on it? You put a check on it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I already did. You can make bets on it right now.
Yeah.
I put my money on Aidan Hutchinson winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, 100%. I mean, look at the history of the award, too. It goes to defensive tackles. We talked about that. I'm sorry, defensive ends. You can go back to Ohio State. That's the rivalry. That's the team they hate, right? Chase Young, when he won his Defensive Rookie of the Year, he had 7.5 sacks, 12 QB hits, and then 10 tackles for loss.
Yes.
8 and 9.5 sacks, 15 QB hits, and 9 tackles for loss. Oh, yeah, and those 3 interceptions. Like, again, ending the season on primetime television, the writers are voting for this thing. Give it to him.
Yeah.
Nick Bosa, another Rookie of the Year. 9 sacks for him as well. Like, it's just, I don't know. It just makes sense.
It's impressive, like you said, and it does help that he ended the season with a bang on primetime at Lambeau, sacking Aaron Rodgers twice, making a bunch of plays. That definitely will resonate in the eyes of voters. That will definitely be remembered by the people voting for this award. Is like, oh damn, that's what Aidan Hutchinson did to end the year to give himself the rookie, lead for sacks, to solidify this performance, to help the Lions get a victory in Lambeau. I wouldn't be mad with either or, but I think it should be Hutchinson. I think it'd be hard. It'd be hard not to give it to Hutchinson.
I'm just saying, it's Hutch all day. Would you vote for Sauce over him at all? Like, or I guess what is the argument, JB?
I don't know. I mean, Sauce did have early success at the beginning of the season, but it just seemed like Aidan Hutchinson was kind of getting the flow of the game and kind of learning both at the same time as a rookie of where he needs to be on the field a little bit more. So I think he's progressed from the beginning of the season to where he is now. But, I mean, Sauce kind of just stepped in and kind of just took over at the start of the season. So that's the only argument I got. But, like I said, as for last night, that sealed it. Like, you have to give it to this man.
100%. CJ Snyder, the Woodward Sports Chat, said they closed the betting lines because all the money's on Sauce Gardner. And they might have closed it because, Aidan Hutchinson. Gotcha ass.
Yeah, gotcha ass.
Gotcha ass.
Gotcha, bitch.
You voted on that minus 1,200? Stupid.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Got him!
Couple comments in Woodward Sports Chat say that Aidan was all over Good Morning America or Good Morning Football today. All over all the morning shows talking about his highlights. But it's just that easier of a story to sell. Mm-hmm. Like, the other thing, too, is you look at the teams themselves. Again, it's in terms of, writing the narrative, creating a narrative for it. Because, that's, again, it's the media is voting on this. The guys that write these stories. Look at the 2 franchises right now. Remember the one the Jets, some people said were projected to be better than Detroit Lions. Digress. Moving on. Detroit Lions versus Jets right now. Who do you think's on the higher trajectory?
The Lions.
for sure.
Detroit Lions.
The Jets don't even know what the hell they got going on. They ended the season on a loss. It's two different night and day scenarios, situations. Like,
Zach Wilson's a bust.
would you be mad if Sauce got it though?
No,
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't be mad.
Yes, I wouldn't be tripping. I'm obviously with Detroit Sports Network, so I got to build up a little bit. But like I would definitely understand.
You can understand when you look at the amount of yards that he's given up in man coverage is impressive. Like, the guy has been playing clamps all year. They're not throwing the ball. They're giving him Revis treatment as a rookie, which doesn't happen in the NFL. So it is impressive what he's been doing. I would not be mad if they gave it to him for sure, but I think Aidan Hutchinson has done enough to win this award. I think Aidan Hutchinson deserves this award, and I do think he's going to get the award. And you look at it, and we talked about it already, even if Hutchinson doesn't win the award, they're going to have 4 rookies in the top 7 of voting for the award. It's going to be Hutchinson. Obviously, Sauce is going to be in there. Maybe Tariq Woolen will be in there. Maybe you throw Quay Walker in there. And then you look at everybody else, and it's going to be Kirby Joseph, Malcolm Rodriguez, and James Houston. 2 of those guys being 6th-round draft picks. Brad Holmes, you are an absolute wizard. And to think you could change the look of that defense, the skill level of that defense with a couple 6th-round draft picks, extremely impressive.
100%.
Extremely impressive.
Kudos to Brad Holmes. And I mean, real quick, back to the Sauce situation. I just want to get this out of the way too. Like, the writer's going to hit the papers and drag about how Sauce locked up people that Skylar Thompson was the quarterback for. The freaking, who was the other guy for Denver? Rippin or whatever the hell his name was. Skylar Thompson again yesterday. Freaking, like, come on. This thing's coming home to Hutch. Let's be real. Because when these writers go dive deep in, there's a lot bigger story there with Aidan Hutchinson than there is Sauce Gardner. And either way, both them boys from Michigan, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, we it's, you know, made in Michigan.
Sauce from the D, man.
100%. So, well.
Can't be mad at it.
Can't be mad at Sauce from the D at all, man.
Can't. Sauce is from the D. You cannot be mad at it.
Let's go hit some of the Woodward Sports chat. K Sports Live. Kirby is Rogers' daddy. Amen. This guy seeing a thumb. Will K, I should say. It's a win-win for both hometown kids. 100%. Who's essentially getting swept under the rug by national media? Steve Lehman said. Let me find who he's talking about. CJ Snyder Malcolm was pretty quiet for the second half of the season, though. Top 10 in voting. I don't know about top 7. It's one of those like underappreciated positions. I've been saying that for quite a while now about the linebackers. Like it's becoming that. It's tackles, and tackles aren't that sexy of a stat at the end of the day. Like when we go and we sit here and we want to brag about Aidan Hutchinson, like tackles isn't the first one you say.
You talk about sacks. You talk about turnovers.
It's not the point you emphasize on. Yeah, 100%. You talk about the sacks, the interceptions, turnovers, all that good stuff. QB hits. Like as a linebacker, that's kind of like what you're delegated to. That's what you're going to eat up most on is tackles. And fortunately, Malcolm, he was looking for that turnover. You know, he wanted that interception all season long.
He wanted that interception. He almost had it.
Yeah, against the Bills.
Anzalone snatched it from him.
He did. And you can't be mad at it, too, because obviously you're playing to win the game at that point, too.
You play to win the game.
110%. Do you think – because you heard the term before that year 2 was the biggest jump for, like, NFL players. And you spoke on, like, the amount of rookies that Detroit Lions had on this team that are going to be in the top 10 for Rookie of the Year voting.
Yes.
Do you expect that year 2 jump for all of them, or do you think anyone was a bit of a fluke?
Not really. I mean, the flukiest one you could think of is James Houston. Maybe you look at that as the league wasn't ready for him, but you can't call it a fluke when he does it every game.
Yeah.
You can't call it a fluke after the league has tape on him and he's still doing it. So I do expect them to all take jumps forward. I do expect them to all be better players next year. I do expect them to go out there and have that year 2 development that we've seen in the NFL for a long time. And that is something great to hear as Lions fan, because as impactful as these guys have been this year, they're going to be even better. They're only going to continue to grow. They're only going to continue to get more comfortable. And it's just amazing to hear. It's amazing to think about. And I can't wait to see what they're doing next year.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. Draft the cocaine. The Woodward Sports Chat says starting at a historically bad rate on defense and ending at 28th overall. Such a tremendous turnaround, and this defense deserves respect. Defend the Glen, baby. We've been riding all year. We're telling you guys, this team's young, and it's going to take a minute to get used to it. And not only just the team being young, Aaron Glenn just learning his personnel as well, on top of it. Learning what guys like can and can't do. It's a similar situation going on. I can't say it right now anymore. Damn, that's so sad. But it's related to the Jameson Williams and Ben Johnson thing, where JMO obviously, off to a little bit of a slow start there for some people, in some people's mind. And mine, you guys already know, I'm kind of patient with the young guys. But my rule of thumb is like 2 years. And in terms of 2 years, I mean like 2 years worth of games too. Like, don't give me, he played half of his first season, a Jeff Okudah scenario where he didn't really actually play his second year.
Yeah,
I need a full 2 years on field of play, or at least close to 2 years, before we could actually make an actual judgment. It's people talking about some of the draft picks that some people wanted in terms of like which Hamilton, I think he's still doing well, but I'm like, obviously people try to bring up all the time, but like 2 years, because you can make yourself looking real stupid if you're not that patient, just like some people have already. And when they talked about firing Campbell, or they talked about freaking Aidan Hutchinson at certain moments, we almost did. We never pulled the plug and said that word.
So we were worried though.
We were worried, yeah, and obviously we were patient. It paid off.
And yeah, the defense, like they said, going from the worst defense, historically one of the worst defenses in the NFL, to now finishing the season at around 28th is a great accomplishment. And that defense showed how strong it was.